Hey everyone, my name is Bart and welcome to my Mastering Photoshop Smart Objects video series for CreativePro.com. Now during this first episode I'm going to talk about animating smart objects using Adobe Photoshop, and I'm going to show you how you can use this technique to rebuild the famous Star Wars introduction. Let's get started. Okay, this is my main project. I already set up a few things here on the right. As you can see, I've got 3 smart objects already good to go. And let me show you what the animation looks like. So I hit the play button. So I've got this general introduction, just some text, and then I've got the main logo that jumps on screen, Font Wars, that just keeps going, going, and then it just fades into space. So this is the main project that we'll be starting with. Now just to give you a bit of a glimpse of how this has been built. This file, as in the introduction, this layer, is actually a separate file. So if I double click it, it will open up this as a separate project because this is actually a smart object. So I've got my text and I've got a black background for this. So I can just change the text any way I like, test for example, save it, and then see that this will actually update the animation in my main file. It's very easy. Let me undo this, and let me undo this here as well. The main logo, Font Wars, is the exact same thing. Again, it's a smart object that has been animated. So this means if I double click this smart object, it will open up in Photoshop as well. And you can see that this is actually all vector. So if I, for example, were to take a portion of the letters, drag them across, save this, it will update all live in my file. And this is one of the beautiful things about using smart objects. You can actually make these live non-destructive updates all the time. Again, let me undo this, save it, and let's get back to the original. Now, of course, I'm missing the text here at the end. So I'm looking for this Star Wars crawl, this introduction text that kind of like in a perspective, in a certain perspective, kind of jumps on screen, rolls across the screen, and kind of fades away in the distance. So to make that, I created a separate Photoshop document. So it's a pretty large file, as you can see here. It's like 1280 by like 2400 pixels. And it just has a bunch of text. This is one layer, just a regular text layer, just has a bunch of text in here. There we go. It's nothing special going on. Now I have the timeline window open at the bottom because I want to animate the text before I place this into my main project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by moving this down. There we go. And I'm going to put a keyframe for my transform attribute, move the playhead all the way to the right to the end of the animation, and I'm going to move the text up. So by the time the playhead reaches that second, it should have played this entire crawl from the bottom to the top. See? That's the main animation. Okay, just runs across the screen. Now this is done, I'm ready to save my file and import this into the main project. But before I do this, notice I have a black background. This is just to make the text legible to me while I'm actually working on the text. But I don't want to import this black background. I'm just going to hide this like this just before I save the file. So I'm going to choose File, Save, jump to the main project, and now just after my Font Wars logo, you can see this little bit here on the timeline. I'm going to click this icon on the left, and I'm going to choose Add Media. And as media, I'm going to choose the Photoshop file that I just animated. I'm going to choose Open, and that will add the exact same amount of seconds that I animated before into this main timeline. So now if I see my logo like this, I keep going, you can actually see that the animation starts rolling across the screen. Now this is somewhat what I'm looking for, but I'm pretty sure you know the Star Wars introduction and has to be transformed. I'm looking for a very specific perspective here, so it has to kind of run across the screen and then disappear into the distance. So to make that work, I'm going to step back a little bit here and zoom out. I'm going to transform this. So I'm going to press Command T on the Mac, and I'm going to press a few other shortcuts here as well. For example, Command Option Shift to go into my perspective transformation mode, and I'm going to transform this pretty strong like this. until I get that perspective that I'm looking for. I'm going to zoom in a little bit again. There we go. I'm just using shortcuts. That's it. Move this down a little bit. You can work on this as long as you want. I'm just looking for a very specific perspective, something like this. A little bit more. Something like this, for example. Okay, cool. Now, once you're done, you can confirm this. Just double click to confirm. And remember, it's still a smart object, which means it's all non-destructive. And the great thing about this is the animation is still going. Look, if I move the playhead, it's still going. And this is the effect that I was looking for. This is perfect. See? So now I'm going to have my introduction like this, the title, and this will fade in. And after a couple of seconds, I've got my main text that rolls across the screen. That is one thing that I'm missing, and that is I want the text to fade out at the end of the animation. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my layer, my Font Wars crawl layer, add a layer mask, choose a gradient tool. I'm going to add a short gradient from white to black at the top of this. So now, once the text reaches that point in the canvas or on the canvas, it's going to start disappearing on me. See? So it's actually fading out into the background like this. And this is exactly what I'm looking for. If I ever want to make a change, for example, if I want to make a change to the text I have here, again, it's all smart objects. I'm going to double click this layer, opens up my text, quickly switch on the light, so to speak, a new beginning, which should be, for example, a new ending, save it, and you can see it updated all live here in the animation. And that's what I'm looking for. All thanks to smart objects. Well, that's it for our first episode. We've got more techniques heading your way soon, but in the meantime, make sure to follow Creative Pro on Twitter or connect on Facebook. Good luck and have fun!